It's not been called once, it's been called twice by the WBA. The first time they paid for an exception to duck MJ. The second time was cast iron, in writing, he had to fight him. They found a way to avoid it again. Naoya Inoue is a pound-for-pound legend. We respect him. He's an unbelievable fighter. But there's one thing he hasn't got, and that's Uzbek power.
Hey, what's up? This is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel. Now, who's ready for some fighting words? In this video, I want to talk about MJ, and I want to talk about Eddie Hearn, and I would like to talk about the monster himself, Naoya Inoue. Really quick, if you like the videos, please take the time right now. Subscribe to the channel. Literally takes one click. And if you could, please circulate the videos. Tell everybody that Fighting Words is here. Let them know that there's a different take on boxing, and there's a different way to say things, and there's a different way to analyze things. And also, hit the thumbs up button. It does help. It shows love and it supports this channel. So in this video, I want to talk about MJ and his recent win. Not necessarily a recap or anything like that, but I just want to discuss what Eddie Hearn said after the fight.
I can have more respect for Naoya Inoue, but the reality is that 2 times he's been called to fight MJ Akhmadaliev, and 2 times he's chose lesser options. He has been ordered by the WBA to challenge him. He turned it down. He wanted to wait. He fought TJ Dehenny. They said, you must fight Akhmadaliev next. Next, he went the other way. IBF, Sam Goodman. This is the only fight in the division for Naoya Inoue. And the more it goes on, and the more Inoue avoids Akhmadaliev, the more I believe this is the man to beat him.
Eddie's argument is that MJ is the most exciting fight right now when it comes to Naoya Inoue, and it comes to 122, when it just comes to the division, he's the most exciting guy out there. If you want to make dynamite between 2 guys and you're going to have a 50-50 fight, this is the fight to make. This is his argument overall. Eddie does believe Inoue is purposely avoiding MJ because, as he says, MJ has Uzbek power. That's what I wanted to talk about. Now, he is right about some things. I want to see the fight. I would like to see these two. I like Sam Goodman, but the reality is I'd rather see MJ facing Naoya Inoue. That's the reality. And I don't believe I'm alone when I say that. If you're looking for a bout that's going to have a 50-50 type of, going in 50-50, I think this is about as close as it's going to get. While you look at Sam Goodman, I don't think it's a 50-50 fight. And it's not that Sam Goodman is not a good fighter. I think he's a very good fighter. I just don't think he's ready. I don't think he's fought that type of competition or opposition. And I don't know how he's going to handle such firepower when he has so little firepower. So that's the problem. Now you look at MJ, he has a lot of firepower. He is a very durable guy, and he's a very experienced guy. I do believe he has a lot of answers to the questions that Naoya Inoue would ask him in the ring. So those are valid points. And he is right. He does have some Uzbek power. He's got a valid point. But Naoya Inoue has faced power punches before. He fought Neri. He has faced power punches. He fought the Palace. He has faced power punchers. So I'm with him to an extent. Now, is there a difference between Uzbek power and Japanese power? That remains a big question mark. As of yet, that remains a big question mark. I would like to know the answer. I'm pretty sure you all would like to know the answer. But that's a big question mark at this particular moment. So where do we go from here? Because, the argument that Eddie Hearn is making is, on paper, towards Naoya Inoue, is you're looking really weak right now. You look like you're avoiding something. You look like you don't want this fight. You can't say I'm the pound-for-pound best, and you have somebody chasing you all over the place, and you have somebody calling you out and saying your name, and you're avoiding them like the plague. And that is a valid argument. Listen, the minute you get that strap, you become a target. It is what it is. It comes with being the king. It comes with, having the kingdom and having the throne. There are going to be people who are going to oppose the throne, who are going to challenge the throne. And guess what? MJ is challenging the throne. And he has every right to do that. And no matter how ugly it gets, no matter how scandalous or slanderous it becomes, he's going to challenge the throne. He has every right to do that. Now, the question is, how do you handle him challenging the throne? Do you say, I welcome all comers, like, the king is supposed to do? Or are you doing what they're saying you're doing? And you're picking and choosing your fights, because that sounds real Canelo Alvarez-like. And I got to tell you, you don't want to go down that route where you have a guy like David Benavidez calling you out every chance he gets. And then Canelo does everything but say his name. Canelo does everything but say yes. Canelo does everything but admits this is the rightful guy to be challenging the throne. So, yeah, listen, I agree with Eddie Hearn. I agree. I agree. The only thing where I disagree is the Uzbek power versus the Japanese power. I don't know the answer to that yet. Because those two haven't fought yet. But everything else, he has a valid point, because it isn't like the fans, it isn't like that the general public are screaming for a Sam Goodman fight versus Naoya Inoue. It's not. I can personally tell you, nobody was screaming for TJ Duheny versus Naoya Inoue. Nobody was. In which case, Inoue beats him all over the ring like he's his child. So that was not competitive at all. We're looking at MJ, and he has the machinery to take on Naoya Inoue. He has the firepower to fight back. He can defend himself, at least was what it's looking like. At this stage, I can say it looks like he can defend himself against Naoya Inoue in the ring. I can tell you, the last guys who went up against Naoya Inoue, they didn't defend themselves very well. It wasn't very competitive. I want to see some opposition. I want to see some real opposition, some strong opposition in the ring. And MJ could very well be that guy. And listen, Eddie Hearn is right about another thing. The longer this goes on, the more it looks like maybe you know something we don't know. Or maybe you're avoiding something. Or maybe you don't want this to come to a head. You don't want to collide. And then it's going to grow into a bigger problem. Because you see how people are treating Canelo Alvarez now. Where everywhere he goes, he is attached to David Benavidez. And they have never stood in a ring together. And he's already attached at the hip with this man. You don't want MJ to be attached at your hip because you haven't fought him. If you're going to be attached at the hip, like if I say Mickey Ward, you're automatically going to go Arturo Gatti. Automatically. If I say Floyd Mayweather, you're going to say Manny Pacquiao. Automatically. Like automatically. This is the things. If I say Roberto Duran, you're going to say Sugar Ray Leonard. If I say Muhammad Ali, you're going to say Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Sonny Liston. It doesn't matter. But you're going to be attached at the hip with somebody you've never fought. You're going to be attached at the hip with someone who is just a big question mark around the name and the fight and what would happen, or I suppose what would happen. You don't want that. Canelo Alvarez is living with that day by day, like literally day by day, because he's firmly attached to David Benavidez, and there's only one way to get him off. That's to fight. If you don't want MJ being firmly attached to you, at some point you're going to have to address it. And you're going to have to fight him. Do I think this is a competitive fight? Yeah, I do. Honestly, I do. Me personally, I think Naoya Inoue has more weapons than MJ. But I think it's a very competitive fight. And I think it's a very dangerous fight for Naoya Inoue. I don't think it's going to be easy by any shot. I don't think it's going to be easy. I think this is by far the most durable guy you've been in there with. I think it's by far the most mentally strong guy you've been in there with. And I think it's by far the most determined guy you've been in there with. So yeah, and not to mention he's physically capable. He's in tremendous shape. Okay, he's a finisher. Okay, and he has a ton of experience. So yeah, this is a very capable guy. I'm only giving Inoue this fight right now simply because of all the skills that I see this man possess and show and display time and time again. But the longer this goes on, it turns into a Canelo Alvarez and David Benavidez ordeal. And it's like, well, yeah, he shows a lot of skill, but then again, those guys that he's beaten up on are lesser skilled guys. And it's unfortunate, but we're going to have eventually, if something doesn't get reconciled, we're going to have the same argument for Naoya Inoue. Tell me what you think. Drop your thoughts down below.